Heavens!
Hi folks, it's another Cooking with Jan episode. I'm Nick, my full name is Yannick, so that's why Cooking with Jan. And we're going to try an experiment today for a quick stir fry. I'm not going to use many ingredients because I don't have many ingredients and I don't feel like doing grocery shopping. But for those of you, please ad-lib your ingredients, your vegetable ingredients. Now I do apologize to the vegetarian community because I don't do a lot of vegetarian meals. In fact, I hardly do ever vegetarian meals. But if you don't like chicken, you can replace it with tofu. Take the the firm version of tofu. It'll actually probably taste better. And you can probably marinate it a little bit more to give it more flavor. If not, mushrooms instead of chicken. Don't know if you could do it with squash, but you'd have to be careful because it has to cook long enough. You're going to need some ingredients. I'm adding green beans into mine. I'm going to steam them first a bit, and then I'm going to throw them into the stir fry at the last minute. The ingredients that you'll need will be at least one boneless, skinless chicken breast. This one's half thawed, which is even better because you can cut it into smaller pieces. I've got about half a lemon left, so that's going to be sufficient. I'm going to be using the lemon juice from what I can squeeze from this. And you're going to be adding in some sweetness, but if you have some sherry cooking wine or white wine, you can add about, say, 1 to 2 capfuls just to give it some flavor and character. And I'm adding to this some blackstrap molasses, just a bit to color it, and some blue agave syrup to sweeten it. Now be careful with blue agave. 1 spoonful of blue agave is the equivalent of 2 spoons of sugar. Because it is 25% sweeter than sugar, so you need less. So be careful, don't overdo it. You can also use honey for this recipe if you prefer. I've got some golden honey, but I don't feel like cooking with the honey today. And I'm going to add some sauce. Now I don't have any habanero peppers, so I'm not able of adding fresh peppers, so I'll use this, which I disdain using. It's by Grace, and it's hot pepper sauce made from, well, it just says peppers, water, vinegar, and salt. I wish they'd tell me which peppers they actually use, and they usually just use it for the capsaicin. So, now with that, this goes into one bowl. Once you actually squeeze your lemon juice, you start adding in your white wine vinegar. You add in your sugar, your sweetness to the mix, and your hot sauce. And I'm using arrowroot. Now, arrowroot can be used for people that suffer from any, I think it's colitis. I'm trying to think what other diseases that, or what other health ailments where you can't eat grains. Of course, I have a memory blank at the worst of times. But arrowroot flour does a better trick than cornstarch. If you can't take cornstarch, use this. If not this, okra might do the trick. But I've never done cooking with okra, so I can't give you my opinion 100% valid. Now, get your ingredients together. What you want to eat with this is anything that you want. I'm probably going to make minute rice because I don't feel like spending 45 minutes waiting on my brown rice. And I'm taking the lazy way out today, but sometimes people that like to cook like to do it quickly. So I'm going to be doing it quickly as possible, and hopefully as deliciously as possible. So we'll talk to you later. Now, first things first, you'll do your chicken if you want, or you can wait for this at last, but I'll start with this since I always like to get my meat ready first. You take your thawed or semi-thawed piece of chicken breast. It's a good idea to actually take it and rinse it under cold water. Why, I don't know. I just know that the residual blood or liquid from the meat tends to change. The protein molecules change when you heat them, and that usually results in a form of meat scum being formed, for the lack of a better word. So you're going to take it and deal with it as soon as you can, and you slice it into thin pieces. How you want to slice is entirely up to you, but I'm going to try to do them into the same size so that they or thickness so that they cook quickly. And you want them somewhat thin, not too thin, because you don't want to eat very dry chicken, but you will be eating it faster by doing it this way, because this is a very quick stir fry. The meat, once it's browned, you pretty much just need to add your liquid, which needs to simmer down a bit, and that won't take too much time because you're doing this at high heat and it's on the stove. Can't give you degrees, folks, not for this one, because I'm not doing it in the oven. And I think I've just stained my shirt, so wear a cooking apron. Okay, now that I've done this, we're going straight into the wet ingredients in just a moment. I decided to take off the top because, as you can see, we didn't use much in regards to the lemon. So I'm going to take this, and you're gonna use a small colander because it helps in catching the pulp and catching the seeds. Although for this you can do it manually for this small amount. And you want to try to juice it as best as you can so you can capture much more of the actual flavor of the lemon. The seeds, don't worry about the seeds, you can pick them out if they fall in. But that's why I'm using the colander, because I don't have to worry about them falling in. Okay, now for the bigger portion of the lemon, or the lime, you can do this with lime too. I'm going to take my citrus juicer, and just plunge it in there and drive the juice out. It helps if you actually squeeze the sides of the lemon against the actual juicer too. And you can put some of the pulp in your sauce if you want to. I would give it a better bite in some cases. Or a bitter bite, all depending on how you see it. Okay. Now that's done. Move on to the rest of the sauce. In the order I described, you're going to add this is the leftover pulp, and there's a seed. Can't fish it out. I've got clean hands, folks, trust me on that. When it comes to cooking, you need to wash your hands. If you haven't, you've just contaminated your sauce. Later. Remember, cleaning can be done after you've started the cooking or while it's doing the cooking. So you've got your lemon juice here, as you can see, okay? You're going to add 2 capfuls of dry cooking sherry or white wine. And you're going to need something to stir it with. Bring out a spoon or a fork or a knife or whatever you feel like you want to spoon it with or mix it with. I'm going to add some agave, and this one I'll prefer to measure. I'm going to give myself 1 teaspoon of blue agave, and I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of molasses, I'm going to swish it about. And at this point, I do recommend you to do a taste test. I'm actually going to add a little bit more molasses. Another tablespoon or teaspoon of molasses. Should sweeten it and thicken it. Give it a darker color. And you want it mixed until the sugar, it's liquid sugar after all, it's cane sugar, is dissolved in your liquid. Okay? Or at least as best as possible. You may reach a saturation point. If you've got too much, back off. Now to that, I'm going to add a few drops of this. This is entirely up to you. You don't have to if you don't want to. And to that, you're going to add a very small amount of this. Now you'll need a eating spoon. Unless you want to contaminate your food. I've been touching everything, so I don't want to plunge my fingers in the bowl for a pinch. But I do need some. So this you don't use a lot. Okay? As you can see, this is all I need. Just the tip of it. If you want it thicker, you can add some more. Okay? But trust me on this, it doesn't taste... It's good for the meal, the warm meal, but it's really not good for reheating. It doesn't taste as good. It has to do with the cornstarch, the arrowroot flour breaking down with the heat. And the additional water getting into the actual mixture. Now this is going to dissolve quite well. You just mix it. You won't see any difference except have it completely dissolve. The magic trick, I don't know if you remember ever doing a powered boat with bicarbonate of soda and vinegar. It's similar to that. The trick is in the alchemy, because you'll see in a moment, when you throw it to the heat, it suddenly goes from normal watery sauce to a very viscous liquid. So, now here, so once you have that finished, we can then move on to the next part. Your meat is coming into here first. We're going to brown it. Get your ingredients together. We'll see you in a few minutes or seconds.